Okay, now, last up, Craig Zingerline is with us, and he is from Votion, which you were at Red Tricycle, which is a company I invested in that went through the incubator. And you're the only person who's come back to the incubator with his own company after having gone there with Jackie's company, Red Tricycle. Now, you built Red Tricycle to over 1 million emails, and you were the growth person there. Now you're doing Votion, which is helping marketers grow their engagement on their sites. And what are you going to talk to us about today?
So I'm going to talk about customer-driven development and how we prioritize items based on feedback and use that for growth.
Is that a fancy way of saying learning from your customers?
Exactly.
Or listening to your customers?
Yeah. Okay, so in the onboarding email for our trial campaigns, for example, I mention a couple of things. Asking users what a successful trial would look like for them opens up a dialogue, so we can actually reply back to that and ensure success. And then just mentioning that we read and reply to everything regarding the campaign. We're really trying to set the example that we're here, that we're listening, and that we're going to be very responsive to them. And so really the touch points at all points of the life cycle have to be on point, and you really need to be responsive. So that's tip number one. And with that email, with that trial campaign email, we're seeing about a 60% open rate and 22% click-throughs. But we're often hearing goals and aspirations, some random tidbits that the client responds to here and there. But most importantly, KPIs and the metrics that they're actually using to base.
Define KPI.
So a KPI is a goal or a metric that is the primary reason why they're actually engaging with us. And so it might be to increase page views or to get in front of 1,000 new users. And so that's the metric, key performance indicator. And so we've really leveraged this type of input for ways to create more dialogues with our clients. Our cost point is a little bit higher. And so we're really trying to build that relationship early on. In addition to always being responsive, we've learned that saying sorry when we mess up is okay. And a few others here have touched on this, but being human is critical. And so we have an internal rule of getting back to clients, regardless of what the question is, within 15 minutes. Even if we don't know the answer, we set the expectation that every 30 minutes you're going to hear from us. Even if we still don't have the answer, every 30 minutes or whatever that cadence is the interval at which we'll relay back information, whatever we have to them. And so that works for a while if you're having critical issues, which we had early on. In fact, we had our first enterprise client. We had massive issues that were impacting all their campaigns, and we had built enough trust through this methodology that not only did they continue to use the service, but they've actually renewed at a much higher rate.
I like the, we'll get back to you every 30 minutes until this is resolved. Makes me feel like, they're obsessing, and this really matters to them, and they understand that it really matters to me. In some cases, I might be like, please don't respond to me every 30 minutes.
We've heard that.
Just tell me when it's done.
We've heard that before.
Right.
But we rather,
overdo it,
and over-communicate.
It's sort of like when you send the steak back and then they bring it to you and they just wait for you to taste it and just make sure it's your liking. Like, I'm sure it's going to be to my liking. Yeah. It's fine. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Over-servicing is great.
And next up, ask for feedback. And so, as Jill had mentioned around NPS scores, those are awesome. And we try to take that and also go on the in-person or phone-based interviews where we're asking specific questions. For example, what's on your wish list? Or what are you struggling with? And we really are looking for candid input. Or what about the product is making you mad right now, and how can we improve? And so it's kind of taking a more qualitative approach to some of the inputs that we're getting, and we found that we really learn a lot. And so from that feedback, we'll actually build features. So a lot of our features, I would estimate 30 to 40%, come directly from ideas that our clients have. And in fact, we've built entire products based on customer input. And what we've found that this lets us do is pre-sell products to customers that have a tangentially related problem or need with a product that we want to test before we build it. It allows us to upsell and cross-sell features. And so we can work different tiers of pricing based on that. And so a really quick example is we were this week on a call with a client And they had this really interesting idea. These are the raw notes from the conversation that my partner Steve had, but this was talking about post-engagement sharing. And this is from the client's mouth. Like, this is what the client was saying they wanted. And so we will look at this, and it's a social sharing add-on that we're going to build. And then we task it out and we build based on that feedback. And what's cool about that is we actually start to unlock growth across our client base from that, because now we can go across our entire client base and survey them to see, is this something that you would sign off on or buy? Would it add value to your your day-to-day? And if enough people say yes, if it's above 60 or 70%, then it makes sense to really dive in and invest in that feature. And we've also seen that customer happiness and customer success really helps us increase our annual recurring revenue and renewal rates when we're in close contact with our clients. And that doesn't have to wait until the contract is up. We've done that mid-contract where they've had an idea, we've executed on it, and we renew the contract at that point and go from there. And then lastly, once you have this relationship, ask for referrals. And so we've done anything from just given a percentage referral fee to adding free time onto the end of their contract if they refer us to other people who might be interested in it. And we're kind of exploring that now as we go. And thanks. We're also doing a free trial for 30 days if you go to votion.co/twist.
Okay, well done. So how do you know when you're talking to a client that they're serious about a feature, or if they're just happen to be just responding to your prompts, these prompting emails of what could be better, what's on your wish list, what's on your punch list? How do you know they're actually serious and would actually use the product? Because they might give you a suggestion, you go spend 3 months building it, and then they don't actually use it.
Yeah, that's a great question.
How do you test there?
Well, we hear a lot of horrible ideas.
Huh? What do you do in that case?
You kind of just, you take it seriously and you put it in a backlog, and maybe you spend 30 seconds analyzing it with your team, or maybe you kill it there. But you give them some feedback in real time that that might be a little far out of what we're looking to do in the next 6 months, but we'll keep it in our we'll keep
right.
it.
So sort of like saying we'll put a pin in it.
We'll put a pin in it.
Put a pin in it.
And sometimes those things actually come back. Like what's a horrible idea right now might not be a horrible idea in 6 months.
Yes, Salesforce for Startups. Since launch, 6,000 entrepreneurs have joined across 130,000 countries. They educate startups on the Salesforce platform, and they provide a ton of resources at Salesforce for Startups, like development resources on the Salesforce platform, 2 free licenses to Desk.com for customer service, a 30% discount off Pardot for marketing automation and CRM solutions for both Sales Cloud and Salesforce IQ. Other benefits include exposure through customer stories and events, content from the community of Salesforce customers, partners, execs, and subject matter experts like the SaaS Startup Founders Guide. Their customers include Automatic, Go Squared, OneMob, and Dennis Tan, the co-founder of the Amsterdam-based image search startup Dashmote, says, challenging the startup status quo is not possible without a customer-centric focus. Salesforce for Startups program offers us access to industry-leading technology and resources that enable us to cater to each client effectively and scale quickly as we grow our customer base. So go ahead and join Salesforce for Startups today. Startups.salesforce.com. 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 Thanks again to our friends from Salesforce for making independent media like This Week in Startups and all the good that we do for startups by sharing these stories for 600 plus episodes. Man, Salesforce has been with us since the beginning, and they told me that we're partners for life. I really appreciate it. What a great, great organization. And also, just as a total aside, I had, 2 wonderful kids this year. We had twins, and we went, and Mark Benioff built this incredible hospital here in San Francisco. What a mensch. My hat's off to you, Mark, for building that amazing, amazing pregnancy kids hospital for women. It's just amazing here in San Francisco what you've done for the community, Mark Benioff. My hat's off to you, just founder to founder. And when I say founder to founder, I mean like tremendously successful founder to modestly successful founder, me. All right, let's get back to this amazing program. Thanks again, Salesforce.